Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jessica Clemons here on the Ringerverse. I'll be showing up with theories, Easter egg breakdowns, and explainers on all your favorite content, but today, I'll be delivering a classic Easter egg breakdown for the first official trailer to Loki Season 2, releasing on Disney Plus October 6, 2023. I'll be going scene by scene, pulling things you might have missed and telling you things you just need to know. This podcast doubles as a video, and if you'd like to watch the amazing work our editors did, or you're just a visual learner, you can watch the video on Spotify, TheRinger.com, or The Ringer's YouTube channel. Let's dive in. We open the trailer at the repairs and advancement bench inside of the TVA. Strolling in is the god of mischief himself, Loki, alongside his very best pal, Mobius. Immediately, I noticed he's wearing the same clothes from the finale of Season 1. There's a cut in his sleeve he gets in Episode 4, and it stays until the finale. This means Season 2 likely picks up right after Season 1, and Mobius might not know what the hell's going on right now. Inside the repairs and advancement floor of the TVA, it's littered with what I assume is repair tickets. They have a deli ticket dispenser to the left, and I don't think anyone's using it. There's a different set of clocks on the walls, and one clock has too many hands, like the one we get at the end of the credits. There's also a bunch of tubes with paper inside and different electronics. We even get a clear view of where all these tubes veer off to. They have a poster on pneumatic tube etiquette, which are all the tubes we see lying around. Opposite, we have a poster that says, temperamental temp pad, don't delay, repair it today. Hot Topic actually released this poster as a t-shirt, and it looks like this is where the TVA employees get their stuff fixed on the same day, no less. The TVA in Loki Season 1 really focused on orange and brown tones like the 70s. This one is focusing more on gray and green ones. It could be two things. One, the repair bench works with green tones, or two, after Sylvie killed He Who Remains, the TVA had significant upgrades in favor of Kang's colors. This is where we're introduced to Ke Huy Quan's character, Obi. Obi is new to the MCU, a TVA worker, but his role is still kinda unknown. He knows enough about time slipping, which we'll come right back to, don't worry, and he may be an archivist. We just don't know if he's a jack of all trades or has a single job. According to Screen Rant, Quan's character's name could be Ouroboros, a role referred to as Q of the TVA, so he's probably the man you go to with any questions about space and time. Though he may not know it all, he's probably read up on it like Wong as the librarian at Kamar-Taj. We see Loki time slip. His body pulls apart and his skin starts to resemble paintbrush strokes. But what's a time slip? Let's pull from some stuff we do know. Doctor Strange didn't glitch in Multiverse of Madness, but we know he can cause an incursion. Though it's a separate company and across the Spider-Verse they had glitches and needed the multiversal wristband to keep them from glitching. I think this could be the same situation, that Loki is time slipping without the proper equipment and he's not causing incursions because magic isn't involved. This could be where we solidify magic causes incursions and tech causes glitches and time slipping. We also know that if this takes place directly after the first season finale where Sylvie kills He Who Remains, Mobius and Hunter B-15 didn't know that things changed, only Loki did. So possibly having someone like Loki who remembers the events before He Who Remains died could result in time slipping, almost like slipping through the cracks. And now time and space don't really know where he belongs. These are just possibilities, just theories on my end. We get the Marvel Studios intro with a gold embezzled lettering. Ooh, it looks so fancy. The background has the L-O-K-I letters just floating around. Loki then time slips back to the past from Season 1, Episode 4. We're at the Time Theater number 5. This is where they put him in the bad memory prison and Sif kicked him in the balls and punched him in the face repeatedly. Then he time slips to a jet ski dealership, probably for Mobius. The dealership is Piranha Power Sports. This leak last summer with Tom Hiddleston kind of just flopping all over the place. Since he's time slipping between the past and present, I wonder if this is a time where either Loki or Mobius worked at this location and he's being sent there via a different timeline. There's two men talking or just selling a jet ski, and one of them could be Loki or Mobius. I think this one looks just like Mobius. Then Loki is shoved out elevator, still time slipping. The poster to the right and left are from Season 1, Episode 1. It says, a tidy cubicle for a healthy timeline on the right, and on the left it says, catch a nexus, prevent a red line. The room is the same room we first met Casey with all the Infinity Stones. Loki is sporting this like button-down coat, which we didn't see in the first season, but he's wearing later in the trailer eating pie. Again, he's time slipping between the present and past, places he's already been and places he's currently at. He immediately time slips and we see the button-down Loki reading an orange TVA notebook. This is probably the TVA handbook. Hot Topic released merch of it. Above him is the Sacred Timeline. Now, during this time in the first episode, the Sacred Timeline looked like this. Now it looks like this and has hourglass figure in the middle and it's spewing light from the back. Later in the trailer, I think we see this exact thing and we'll get to it. Just hold on, we'll get right to it. It's just gonna come later in the trailer. Then we get Sylvie perfectly lined up like a Wes Anderson movie in this beautiful 70s color palette. It must be a studio or some kind of record shop because we see concert posters and records galore. Everything around her is time slipping. Even the record she's holding begins to float into the air and slip away. Loki begins using the pruning stick to destroy the mural of the Time Variance Authority. We see the head they cut off from the last season, and behind the mural is a gold statue of Kang himself. The colors have the same hue where He Who Remains was hiding in episode 5. It looks like he's trying to convince Mobius of what happened because he doesn't know what's up. Loki and Mobius enter through the TVA's time door, and we see this throughout the trailer. They use it in the first season a lot. This is where I think we find Loki searching for Victor Timely in Chicago 1893. I say 1893 because this was during the Midway Plaisance, which featured the World's Columbian Exposition that unveiled the first Ferris wheel, which we see right here. This was the unveiling of a lot of influential and profound inventions, ideas, and architecture that truly is mimicked in the World Exposition of Tomorrow that we see in Captain America: The First Avenger that happened in 1943. Loki blasts this guy. This is Raphael Cassel. He's playing Brad Wolfe. Brad Wolfe is from Marvel Comics and was an actor playing a serial killer named Zaniac, who then ended up possessing him. He's also linked to the Dark Dimension. Dormammu sent the entity to Earth to possess someone, and it did, and just became a serial killer. Now, something's up with Brad.
Something's up with Jack, something's up with Jack.
Not only does he get blasted by Loki, but later in the trailer we see him stuck in the time door. What did he do? Probably killed someone. Then a giant green explosion blasts Loki from the Ferris wheel entrance. Mobius and Loki enjoy some Technicolor key lime pie. Additionally, Hot Topic sells these key lime Loki pajama pants. And I'm not saying the pie is important, but I'm saying I want a pair, and I bet key lime pie will be the new Captain America shield for Disney merch. I kind of hope it is. If they're eating at the same place they did last season, it's been upgraded. The old lunch area in season 1 was so dreary. This one from the trailer is out of a 1950s cafeteria. And keep that in mind, keep that noted. We're at what I assume is the Zaniac premiere. Remember how I said Brad Wolfe is playing him? So this is probably that premiere. Out front is a 69 Jaguar, and underneath the title of the movie, the names are George Ethan Walker, Steve Allen, and Lee Ann something. It's so hard to make out that last name, and I'm sorry. George Walker is the visual effects artist that worked on Doctor Strange, and Steve Allen could be the musician, actor, and comedian that hosted Steve Allen's Music Room on Disney Channel. Later in the trailer at the same time, Brad Wolfe waves to his adoring fans. Far right, the sign says, "Marry me, Brad Wolfe." Little do they know he might be a serial killer. Then far left, we have a poster of Brad Wolfe as Zaniac for the movie. There's been a ton of leaks of this specific scene that I don't want to spoil. Nothing too crazy, but a lot of photos with small Easter eggs that are really fun. If you'd like to go see it, you can just Google it. You'll find it immediately. I don't want to spoil it here, but they are pretty fun. We get my favorite part of the trailer. It's Sylvie in an old school McDonald's outfit, and she has 5 stars. This might take place around the same time as the Zaniac premiere, seeing as the Jaguar is from 69. These McDonald's clothes are from 76, and the 70s inspired record store we saw Sylvie in earlier. We cut to Sylvie pulling a moon back, just yanking that man's collar. He has 3 temp pads stacked upon one another. What the hell is he up to? Then we're back to where it all ended in season 1. Comparatively, it's in shambles. Everything's broken, and the lifeless corpse of He Who Remains is still there. Going back, I mentioned this sacred timeline with an hourglass figure in the middle, and we're looking at it right now. We see how they've patched the sacred timeline. All this chaos is going in one end and perfectly streamlined on the other. Whichever Kang is now ruling the TVA has fixed the inevitable. We might know which Kang it is, which I'll get into shortly, don't you worry. Sylvie's return to the TVA. This is where they got the pies earlier. We don't know if this is the Sylvie from season 1 finale, though. This very well could be a different Sylvie from another timeline, and I just want to keep that in mind.
We're playing God.
We are gods.
Here they freaking go again, thinking they're not gods, and they've been playing gods since season 1. We see Sylvie in a room with a bunch of robotic mannequins and a man on the floor. I think this man is Victor Timely. I also believe Victor Timely, with the help of Ravonna, fixed the sacred timeline and is currently overseeing it. Victor Timely premiered in the post-credits scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We even see Mobius and Loki in the same getup in this trailer. Victor Timely is an inventor and Kang variant. He set up shop in the 20th century where he established Timely, Wisconsin. He created businesses and factories, the most important one being Timely Industries. One of his employees was Phineas Horton, who was featured at the World Exposition of Tomorrow that we see in Captain America. Now that's a callback. We see Loki restraining Brad Wolfe, and he's using his shadows to do so, and I don't think we've ever seen Loki do this before. In what could be the same room as the robotic mannequins, we see Ravonna Renslayer. I think she could be holding the Mach 1 pruning device. They're similar, this one's just a bit bigger. Later in the trailer, we see her in the same clothes, just wearing a little coat, and this could be at Victor Timely's presentation. I think this variant of Ravonna is actually Rebecca Termine, who traveled to Timely, Wisconsin in 1903 with the Kang variant, Victor Timely. Timely unveils his new machine, and I think he's created a temp pad. The machine's static electricity illuminates white and purple like the sacred timeline, and later we see Ravonna in a field with purple light beaming off her face, and I think she's where you go when you've been pruned. It has the same look of the abandoned fields, and I think Victor Timely may have pruned her. We might be looking at the very first pruned victim. She could be looking at Aleya, who we know He Who Remains conquered and weaponized before isolating their timelines and creating the TVA. Additionally, a variant Kang lived on Earth in the 31st century and figured out there's more versions of himself while the other versions of himself were learning the same thing. One of those versions could be Victor Timely, who is unveiling his TemPad right now, later exploring the universes and being the inspiration of the TVA with their old school layout and millions of clocks. He could have intercepted the TVA from He Who Remains in a different timeline, or he could be He Who Remains. We see Loki holding a pocket watch with a timer. It's green and red with an arrow in the green. This could be Victor Timely's Mach 2 version of the TemPad. We see Hunter B-15 in a doctor's outfit. Behind her is a glitching time door. Maybe she just came out of it or someone's after her. In the first season, Ravonna found out she used to be a teacher in 2018, and maybe B-15 finds out that she was once a doctor. Then Casey makes his return. Happy to see our boy. This time he looks like a prisoner, and he might be. Later in the trailer, we see him working, then a car is thrown through their window, so someone could be attacking and imprisoning the workers of the TVA. Miss Minutes becomes Godzilla and scares everyone at the fair. She's a walking, talking ghost. It's insane. We see the mural of Kangs. These Kangs have the traditional purple and green suit, similar to the one from the comics and Quantumania. And maybe the coolest shot of this trailer. Honestly, I love this shot. We see the TVA TV with Miss Minute saying, "Thank you for your service," as time slips. The graphics are so beautiful and it's so fun. This makes me love the trailer so much. Later, we're inside this white wooden building. We see boats, time doors, and TemPad stations we saw earlier. The people walking around are wearing TVA uniforms. Whatever they're doing, Sylvie and Loki don't like it. I assume this location is the Chatham Historic Dockyard. They used it as one of the filming locations for the series. We see a suited Mobius and Loki with Loki's duplicated self, which we know he could do from the conversation they had in the first season.
Illusion projection involves depicting a detailed image from outside oneself which is perceptible in the external world, whereas duplication casting entails recreating an exact facsimile of one's own body in its present circumstance, which acts as a true holographic mirror of its molecular structure.
And that's it for my Easter egg video on the newest trailer for season 2 of Loki. Victor Timely is here, the sacred timeline is still holding up, but there's nothing that stands between this world and utter destruction. Subscribe to the Ringerverse on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Ringerverse, and make sure to follow The Ringer on youtube.com/The Ringer. Thanks for watching and listening for all time, always.